Laughter rolled through the grand hall, glasses clinking in a rhythm of celebration. It was the 20th anniversary of Silver Spoon, a night meant for pride and polished smiles. Then the lights, dimmed in the giant screen above the stage, came alive. A grainy clip began to play, an awkward figure in a stiff new uniform carrying a tray that wobbled with each step. A sharp voice cut through the sound of the dining room. "Do you even know what you're doing?" The man in the video froze, his shoulders tightening under the weight of the words. The tray landed on the table with a soft clatter. He lowered his head, pressing the back of his hand to his face, a quick furtive motion to hide the tears. The laughter in the hall faltered. Chairs shifted. Eyes narrowed at the image of humiliation playing out in silence. The moment stretching long enough for the discomfort to settle deep in the room. Then a voice low and steady filled the air. "This is me, Jackson. Your CEO." Gasps rose like a sudden gust of wind. A man stepped out from the shadows at the side of the stage. No suit, no polished shoes, just the same plain shirt from the video. He reached up, pulled away the thick beard, peeled off the hair that wasn't his. "I left my office a month ago," he said, eyes sweeping across the stunned faces. "I lived as one of my own employees, and this is what I found." The words hung there, a fuse lit and burning. Somewhere in the crowd, a fork dropped against a plate. The room leaned forward. What they were about to hear would not be polite, and it would not be easy. It was the start of a story that no one in this hall would be able to turn away from. The boardroom smelled faintly of coffee gone cold. Jackson sat at the head of the table, his eyes on the wall-sized screen, where a line of red numbers plunged downwards. The graph bled into the corner, a steady free fall that no one wanted to claim. Around him, the room shifted in their seats. Papers rustled, pens clicked. "We can offset the losses if we cut ingredient costs by 15%. One manager said, tapping the table. "For emphasis. Cheaper suppliers, fewer premium cuts. The customers won't notice." Another voice chimed in sharper. "And we reduced payroll. Start with the longest serving staff. Higher salaries, bigger savings." Jackson let the words hang in the air. He studied the desperate certainty on their faces. To them the math was clean, the logic airtight, but he could taste the bitterness of the path they were paving. "No," he said quietly, then, louder. "No. We will not gut what made this company worth building. We will not betray the people who carried us here." The silence that followed was heavy enough to bend the air. Across the table, Mark's eyes flicked up just for a second, flat, unreadable, but carrying something sharp underneath. Jackson leaned back, feeling the weight of that look. Something was wrong. The numbers were one problem, but there was another hidden breathing somewhere in the shadows of his company. "I'll handle it," he said, more to himself than to them. The meeting moved on, voices droning over the red graphs, but Jackson had already made a separate decision. If the truth wasn't going to walk into his office, he would go out and find it himself. The envelope was thin, its edges softened by careful hands. Inside, a single sheet of paper trembled slightly as Jackson unfolded it. The handwriting leaned unevenly across the page, each letter shaped by age. "Your soup, it's not like it used to be." The words seemed to pause on the paper as if the writer had stopped mid-thought before pushing on. Jackson turned the page over, and there it was, a faded photograph. An elderly woman sitting alone at a corner table, her coat draped neatly over the back of the chair. In front of her, a steaming bowl. Her smile was small but certain, the kind of expression born from familiarity, from trust. He could almost smell it again, the slow-cooked broth, the hint Of fresh herbs, the steam curling upward like a memory made visible. The letter continued. I still come sometimes. But it's not the same. I miss my restaurant, but it's gone. Jackson stared at the lines until they blurred. The hum of the office outside faded. He saw the old dining room and his mind worn wooden. Tables warm, lighting the way the soup would arrive before she even asked. His hand tightened around the letter until the paper crumpled softly. Something inside him shifted, grief folding into resolve. If this woman could feel the loss so deeply, how many others had felt it too? And if the place she remembered no longer existed, then someone had let it disappear. Jackson placed the photo back inside the envelope carefully. His eyes, once heavy with sadness, were now fixed with a steady light, the kind that doesn't fade until the work is done. The subject line was blank. No name in the sender field, just a string of random letters. Jackson